So after saying that I would turn over a new leaf and and try and record these episodes a little bit more closely together, I've completely failed to do that. So apologies about that, folks. It's been a couple of weeks since I've I last recorded an episode. We're now on round number 79. I've kind of been a little bit taken, partly because I am playing this big long multiplayer Shadow Empire game, and I play a turn every night or every couple of nights, and it's getting kind of long now because we're getting to, I think, kind of about turn 70 in that game. I think it's about turn 71, turn 70, and it's big. The map is much bigger, so it's taking a long time, and that's partly probably why I've not been playing this. However, I am really enjoying this game, and especially now that we are at war with Schwarzmark here, I'm thinking that this is going to start really hotting up. So let's see where we were at. Now, my industry is pretty weak for this stage of the game. I've got to say, we should have 3 or 4 times this amount of industrial output and at least twice this much metal. So yeah, things sorry, metal output, I should have about 10 times this amount. So I'm really not doing very well. But I was looking at my stocks. Really, at this point of the game, I probably want to be having about 3,000 industrial output and about 3,000 or 4,000 metal, depending on, in an ideal game, right? Obviously, there is no such thing as an ideal game in this. Oh, by the way, Dad's Tactic yesterday just put out a video on how to play Shadow Empire in one sitting. I think it was a one sitting video. It at least tells you how to, basically the basics of how to play in one sitting. So if any of you know people who are kind of on the fence about getting into Shadow Empire, but you know better and you like this game, right? And you've been trying to kind of get them to look at it, but they're like, oh no, it's too long, too complicated. Go and show them that video, because apparently it's really good. I've not had a chance to watch it yet, but some of my buddies have, and apparently it's really, really good. It's a really, really useful video. And I think the more people we get into this game, the better. I've got to say, right, before I start playing too much, I am well surprised at how many people have taken to Shadow Empire. I honestly thought that this would be a game that would be niche, and that people, that kind of struggle to get people playing. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to Vic. It's a great game, right? But what I mean is, it's just it seemed to me just to be a little bit too niche for 4X players. For example, it's a little bit too wargamey for 4X players, and it's probably a little bit too, sci-fi and 4X for wargamers. But I think, from what I can see, people have really taken to this, I think, in a big way. I think Shadow Empire has become a game that people are very, very into and invested in. And there's no other better way of displaying that, really, than if you were aware of some of the disagreements that were going on in the community about some of the changes that were being made in the game. Because, for example, when the new logistics system came in, I was one of the people who really resisted that, because I didn't really see the point in it. I didn't really see how that system made things any better. Having looked back at it, despite, some very loud and kind of public, getting annoyed with it, complaints is what I should be saying. Some very loud and public complaints that I've made about how I find the pool system can be a little bit obtuse and sort of difficult to understand. I do think I like the system overall now. What I will say about that, just to hammer home the same point, is that I do think it's more complex for beginners to understand now. There's no doubt about that at all. The game is not easy to understand for beginners anyway, and I think that new logistics system, I say new now, it's like several years old at this point, but at least it was new for people who played it in the beta like I did. But I do think that, generally speaking, Shadow Empire has become very, very popular, and surprisingly so as well. Like, I am surprised at how popular Shadow Empire has become. And the sales figures apparently were very good, according to what people have told me from Slytherin, and that it's really, really good. So I'm dead pleased. I think Vic has knocked it out of the park with this game, honestly. And also, there's been a few content creators, such as myself, but more people like Daz, really have been playing this over and over and over and just showing off what a great game it is. And I think this sounds a bit self-destructive as a YouTuber. I'm starting to go off the whole YouTube thing with regards to spoiling games for people. Like, so I think one of the reasons why I'm not playing Immortal Empires, you know, Total War Warhammer 3 so much, is because I watched so much content before it was released, and I think I kind of got bored of it. Now, I'm not saying I am bored of it as a game. It is an amazing game, by the way, and I really, really am enjoying it in a big way. But I haven't gone back to it really after the initial burst of playing, and I do think that's partly because I just sort of watched it too much. It was like, I kind of feel that, yeah, I kind of burned out on it quite early. It's a real shame. And I think that with a game like Shadow Empire, I mean, look, the reason why I don't play Total War is because nobody needs to see another guy playing Total War, right? But there's loads of people who play Total War that are already way better than I am, and why would you bother, right? And that's my thoughts on the issue. Now, when it comes to Shadow Empire, this game people need help with it. I think it is difficult, and it's difficult in a way that is just kind of, it can be frustrating for a certain type of player. Wow, we took a lot of casualties there. And we didn't even win either. That's unfortunate. I think we got these guys next turn, provided we don't get. I'm gonna be a little bit careful here. Look, we are in some peril, I feel. Let's move this guy back this way. I'm gonna bring this guy down here. Let's see if we can move. Yeah, I see us being cut off here actually. I see us being cut off here. I think what we need to do. Remember, these guys don't have supply. I think what I'm going to do is, if he goes up like that, he comes out that way. We could be in a bind. Let's just have a look at our logistical routes here. No, we're okay. Yeah. Anyway, so like, yeah, I think that with Shadow Empire, I think what I'm trying to get at in a roundabout way is that I think content creators really help this game. I think I'm not blowing my own trumpet that much because I don't think that many people saw my videos. But I certainly was one of the people loudly trumpeting how good this game was. But also people like Tortuga Power and Daz Tactic who have got much bigger channels than me. And there's others as well, like Edmund from Slytherin as well. He did some really great videos on how to play Shadow Empire, and you know, he's also very much into it, I think. So I think that this was one game where I think that content creators really helped, whereas I think other games you can overdo it, right? Especially games that have got, I mean, this one needs it, whereas I think Total War is relatively easy to play, at least mechanically. Where the difficulty comes in is probably, you know, kind of learning all the sort of different factions and that kind of thing. I understand why people want to load up on that. Let's have a look at the history log anyway. I'm going to stop talking. Really what we're looking for here is, okay, yeah, we actually killed 300 troops here. We're looking for movement on our front with, oh, we lose 200 troops. We lost 100 troops there. Yeah, these guys are trying to break through. I think what we've got to do here is we've got to beat them ASAP, because we are now at war and we need to free up this brigade. We are at war with Schwarzmark. Now, fortunately, that Schwarzmark seem to have like troops down this way. We've now got eyes on Zoxigama, by the way, and yeah, it's the 11th Machine Gun Infantry, 14th. Wow, these guys have got a lot of brigades. We don't have anything near this amount of troops, so we have got to start really getting on and getting some defences up. Now, yeah, I think I'm actually going to bring these guys. Got one brigade up here. We've got the 1st Infantry up this side, who I'm going to try and take these mountains, because if we can hold these mountains, we can threaten a cut-off if they come this way. But consequently, the enemy can do the same to us, okay? So we just got to be a little bit careful there. So I'm going to bring this is the 4th. I'm going to bring the 4th up this way, and I'm going to push in from this direction down here, okay? And then we've got the 3rd here, and I think the 2nd's down here, if I remember right. 2nd here, isn't it? Yeah, we got the 2nd here. The 2nd we need to pull these guys back. Okay, we have got our work cut out for us, folks. We've got our work cut out for us. Let's get these gentlemen onto the line. I say gentlemen. I assume in Shadow Empire they're probably going to be mostly male troops. You might find that on certain planets, in certain cultures, you might end up with female troops as well. It's not completely unheard of. Unrealistic and unlikely as though it may seem. there's a big push in culture and video games and things at the moment to kind of present women as, you know, the equals of men in warfare, and it's just not the case. They do certainly have. They're just not like physically. Then they don't have the same physical characteristics that men do that make them kind of natural born soldiers. That is not to say, before anyone gets upset with me, that there aren't, you know, historical female soldiers. In fact, we have female soldiers right now, but they generally do like kind of backfield work, you know, kind of like logistics and like working as medics, and in those respects they are to be respected. But yeah, generally speaking, it's men that tend to do most of the fighting, at least in much of the world. Because men are just bigger and stronger, and that's just kind of the way that it is. Let's see what we can do about moving these guys down here, just to try and take a little bit of this territory back. Now we've got the 14th and the 11th coming up this way. We do need to get another few brigades up. I think money is still going to be a problem for us. Let's have a look at the vidcom. Okay, we're in the latter stages of this decade of fanaticism. This is going to be over soon. We've discovered security tactics. I'm not really worried about that at the moment. In this game, I don't think security tactics is going to be much use at the moment. We're at war, and although barracks can be helpful, I think that, you know, I've got other things to be spending my money on. And we've got a bunch of cards. Incident with a hard sentence. Elmira Douglas. Look, these group are really not happy with this. Very unhappy. I'm going to have to reverse this decision here.
Roger that.
Minus 14 points. That's a lot of, you know, that's a lot of points, by the way. I think that's a little bit fierce, actually. Government profile is to be raised. Where was I with the profiles? No, I don't want government. I want enforcement now. So I'm going to refuse that. I don't care if they're upset. I don't care about syndics. So Model Design Council. I don't think we need to have many points put into discovery right now. I don't think there's anything to discover, so let's just leave that as no change. Staff Council task priorities. I'm just going to remind myself of what our balances are. Staff Council's down at 7. Right, I've actually started readjusting how I think about Staff Council. I actually think it's really important. I might actually fund this a little bit more. Definitely. Right, we don't need customized formation. We can't afford it in this game, but postures is kind of important, and the rest is kind of important as well. I think I'm going to drop this down, and we're going to go up to the discovery in operationalization for the order of battle stuff. I think we've got to put that up because there are certain things that I actually quite like in this game now. Major worker strike in Mars. It's going to have to be a democratic decision. I don't think we've got enough troops there to do an autocratic crackdown. New commander for the 4th Machine Gun Infantry Brigade. Now, did I move Gwen Burke out of there? It looks like I did. We've got Glenn Cooper. Glenn Cooper is bad. Pandora Votfield. It's also not home. We've got another group of really bad leaders here. It's kind of unfortunate. We can recruit a couple of juniors. Let's get a junior out. This is Max Tony Hall. Okay, he's better. He is better. Got defensive works as well, which is nice. Capability 2 means he will actually grow, and he's democratic as well. Okay, this guy's going to probably be a better person, so let's get rid of... Gwen Burke's actually... Where did I have her again? I'm going to have to go back and look at the videos and just figure out where she was. I can't remember if I moved her from this job. Let's have a look at the history. I should be able to tell from here. So started a career as a rogue. Oh, she was the director of the staff council. That's right. Let's get her in as a... Let's at least get her relations up. Right, I remember now. That was it. I actually... I remember that I was talking about the staff council before that. Yeah, that's something I've kind of discovered is kind of important in this game. We need to get more industry up, by the way. But before I can do any of that, I've got to get more brigades up. Now, money-wise, we are going backwards. That's bad. We need... Yeah, I mean, we've got a bunch of brigades incoming, and there's going to be more. We've got 1, Looks like 2, 3, 4, 5. We got loads. These guys are coming and pushing in on this border as well. These guys are coming in this way. I've really got to start getting out troops now. So let's see what we can do. Now I remember there was some talk of getting APCs. The problem with the APCs is they're all right, but they're expensive. They're incredibly expensive. Where are we? I can never find these damn things. I just don't use them that much. Light tanks. And I prefer light tanks. But I've now seen how good buggies are as well, and with a little bit of redesign, buggies can be made to be pretty powerful. Now we've just got this recon rover at the moment. Which, yeah, this is a minimal thing. So this is not much good. So, well, maybe rather than building APCs, it just depends on what technology our opponent is fielding, and I've got to remember what this guy's got. I did look last turn, didn't I? He's got polymer armor. Doesn't have combat armor though. I don't see combat armor, do you? So I'm just missing it in this. I don't like lists very much. I'm really bad with lists. I'm fine when I'm looking for things myself. It's when I'm on camera I start stressing out. Okay. I had a real problem at uni with that, by the way, when I'll be sitting in like tutorials with people doing, especially with mathematics, and then you'd be sat around with a group of like 5 or 6 people, or in my university's case, like 10 or 20 people in a tutorial group, because it was a Mickey Mouse organization. By the way, don't tell the University of Edinburgh that. But yeah, and you'd be having this data to look through, and I'd be like scrolling down, and you just feel the eyes of about 10 people around you burning on you, like, why can't you do this? And this is something that I'm perfectly capable of doing. Like I used to be a data analyst at an aerospace place in the UK. I won't say which. And so I'm used to reading data. I'm used to reading graphs. I can crunch numbers. But when there's like about 15 people all staring at you going, hurry up, I can't stand it. And I've noticed that like disability seems to, or that kind of like stress that I got from that seems to have carried over into YouTube now. So when it comes to like looking at stuff like that, I really struggle. Right, I'm just going to get up another brigade. I think we're just going to have to go with more troops, I think, for the time being. I do like mechanized stuff. The problem is with mechanized stuff, it's dead expensive in metal. Now, I guess if we got a mechanized battalion, there we are, mechanized infantry, we can't afford it. Look, a regiment, sorry. A regiment, that would be worth getting. We just can't afford it. We don't have the industrial points. Now, that mechanized infantry regiment might be able to push through and help break through, but the problem is that's all well and good, but if I haven't got enough troops to hold the line, then I'm in big trouble. I think I'm going to have to get these guys up first. So yeah, I think that's going to be the job. Just give these guys a different colour just so that I'm able to recognise them a little bit more easily. There we go, give them this kind of pink colour. Okay, right, that is probably going to be about it for this turn, I think. Now we could get some military propagandists out. Let's get some out on that 4th. Because they're going to be up on the front line pretty quick. Yeah, I can't afford them anymore, but I've got 4 of them out, so those are actually pretty good. If I remember right. Yeah, they give you a 75% chance to ignore a retreat combat result. That's really, really strong. Alright folks, I think I'm going to leave the episode there. That's basically all I'm going to do. There is really not much more I can do. I've kind of moved all my troops. These guys are just going to be just in holding pattern at the moment, unfortunately. I can't really do much more down there. We are just really redeploying troops now. I think that me and Varort are kind of buddies, at least as much as we can be in a nation that's kind of like got you pegged for blackmail. So yeah, that's about it. I probably should look at the construction report. Got rare metals mining facility going up, and we've got a truck station going up. I do need to save lots of industrial points and metal food units though. So let's just end the turn there. I'll catch you in the next episode, guys. Take care.